In today's video, I'm going to be replacing one of my water heaters in our attic. I recently replaced this guy, which had a bunch of leaking and rust on the top, indicating that the tank was ruptured. After doing this one, I feel confident enough to film my experiences changing out the other one, which also has a tank rupture. Now, it's not as bad as this one. There's no rust coming out of the top or anything like that, but the tank is definitely ruptured. When checking around the insulation, it's all wet, so it needs to be changed out as well. I want to note that I am not a professional plumber, and this video is just for fun and educational purposes only, as a DIYer doing his own install. When purchasing these units, there's a couple things to look out for. First of all, know if you're using natural gas or propane. In my case, this house is run on propane, so I got the LP versions of these units. Now, these units that I've swapped out will be Rheem units, and you can get them from Home Depot. However, after talking to the plumbing supply guys, you can get a much better quality unit by buying it through them instead. Better controls, better insulation, all at the same price. Specifically, the units that I installed are the Rheem Classic Professional units. They are obviously propane units. This one that I installed last week is a short model, and the other one is the normal height. They're both 40 gallons. The footage that you'll see today is going to be me installing the other one, which is the normal height version. Now, one of the hard things about this is this second water heater is going to be across the attic on the other side of the house. One of the nice things about doing this one is that we have a game room, which is the only upstairs room of this house, and it opens up in this little enclave here that is decked, and it was pretty easy to get this guy installed. However, the other one goes over a much more treacherous path, and I'll make sure to document that for y'all because it's not going to be fun. To make my life easier, I will be moving this second unit across the attic while it is still in the box. This will allow me to slide it on its side more easily and hopefully protect the unit a little bit as we're going up and down over the different decking heights in the attic. Before we move the other one in here, I'm going to go ahead and start draining this guy. It takes a while to drain all 40 gallons out of the units. So I'll be hooking up my drain line right there, and I'll be running the hose into our closet. It's the master closet. We're going to go into there, take a right, and go into the drain in the shower. Before we get too far along in the process, I'm going to replace this old light bulb with one of these big LEDs. This will just make it easier to see what I'm doing up here. And I found these a while back, and I put them all over in the attic, and it really makes being up in the attic much nicer. If you want to use one of these yourself, I'll put an affiliate link down below. That helps out the channel, and it shows you where they're at. Now that we have our hose hooked up, I'm going to shut down the unit and prepare it for draining. I shut the gas inlet valve, turn the heater to off on the control knob, and then shut the incoming cold water. Next, open up the hot side of one of the sinks on the system, and then using a screwdriver, open up the hot water heater drain. I found that I had to pump this drain valve open and closed a few times in order to get things rolling. I start off by draining into a 5-gallon bucket to see if I saw any sediment, but after not seeing any, I sent it straight to our shower floor drain. If I had a window nearby, I would have ran this outside of the house. While the unit is draining, I began moving the new water heater through the attic. Note that when moving these in a box, you want to keep the side labeled control pointed up at all times and not bearing any load. This is the most fragile part of the heater. At this point, the old heater has finished draining, and I'm going to start disconnecting, leading off with the 2 water lines at the top and then the gas supply. In order to more easily remove the gas piping, I removed the sediment catch nipple and plug. On the side of the unit, we have some PVC running from the pressure relief valve to the exterior of the home. I want to reuse this 1-inch threaded connection on the new heater, so I just cut the 3/4 of an inch PVC with a hacksaw to be rejoined later. Then, with extreme care, I lifted the old unit out of the pan and scooted it out of the way before removing the new unit from the box. I dried up the water in the pan and then moved the new heater into its spot, lining up with the vent. I'll be starting the reassembly on the gas side, so I cleaned up the pipe fitting threads with a wire wheel before applying some pipe dope. I ordered this Rector Seal pipe dope from Amazon just because of its reviews and usability with gas fittings. While I applied a liberal amount to the threads, I took care not to get any in the ID of the pipe. Using some Teflon tape, I reinstalled the 1-inch threaded PVC assembly into the pressure relief valve of the new unit. To reattach the rest of the drain line, you can use a standard coupling with PVC cement or hit the slightly more expensive easy button with one of these shark bite connectors. I was going to go the cheaper route until I realized I didn't have any PVC cement on hand, so I opted for using a spare coupling instead. Now y'all may have noticed earlier, but the previous installer got lazy and didn't install the vent diverter on top of the unit, which in my opinion was potentially pretty dangerous. It was actually on the floor next to the heater. On our install here though, we're going to be doing it right and affixing it to the top of the unit with the provided screws. On the water legs, I wrapped both the inlet and outlet with 3 to 4 wraps of Teflon tape, and then I added some pipe dope just for good measure. This additional pipe dope may be overkill or actually detrimental, but it felt right, so I just rolled with it. Lastly, I went downstairs and grabbed some small self-tapping screws from my inventory to attach the vent pipe to the vent diverter. This ensures it won't get out of line in the future. All that's left to do is turn her on and start testing for leaks. I started with the water by opening the cold inlet valve. Then I opened the gas line and sprayed all the connections with soapy water. To relight the pilot, I followed the instructions by holding down the pilot dial and hitting the striker. With a little bit of air in the line, this took quite a few strikes before lighting. With the unit running, I wanted to do one last check of our work. I actuated the pressure relief valve to verify that the 3/4 of an inch coupling was holding strong. After taking a lunch break, I carefully removed the old water heaters from the attic by strapping them to a hand dolly and using gravity down the stairs. These will be hauled off to a local scrapyard. Once the old units were outside, I took a moment to check their anode rods. I think it's safe to say that these were never changed out, which likely contributed to the short 6-year run lives of these units. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how these installs turned out. This is the first time I replaced water heaters, and like always with new projects, I learned a ton and found some more resources locally who will be able to assist me with future projects that I tackle. I will for sure have a rigorous maintenance schedule for these 2 units with the hopes of having them last for over a decade. If y'all got something out of this video, please hit that like button down below and consider subscribing to the channel. Until next time, this is Redbeard Engineered, signing off.